Good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Show City Council to order. By roll call, see that all council members are present. We'd like to welcome those of you who are with us tonight in the audience, as well as those who may be watching at home on Show 56. We'd like to begin this evening with an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. We've asked Council Member Crittenden to lead us in a word of prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance with Council Member Hatch. Those who'd like to participate with us, please stand.
Our Heavenly Father, please help us make the correct decisions tonight and guide us through this council meeting. We do thank you for the moisture that you're delivering to the mountain and protecting us in the fire season. Would like to once again ask you to protect our law enforcement officers and guide them through their very, very dangerous jobs that they have. And also protect our armed services on shore and abroad and bring them home all safely. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Which thing?
Thank you. This evening, we start with call to the public. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that is not scheduled on this agenda may do so at this time. Comments need to be limited to 3 minutes per person, and it needs to be addressed to the council as a whole. At this time, we'll open call to the public. We have Mr. Mark Redenauer is asked to be this time. Mr. Redenauer.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have a situation in Sholo that needs to be addressed. Our city has a lot of trees, thick stands of trees, very thick, and many of them are growing very close to homes, less than a foot from the home's walls. Just drive down to 22nd Avenue, starting just north of the 22nd Avenue Old Linden Road intersection, and you will see what I mean. There are pine trees, thick stands of pine trees all over, and the individual homeowners and those who rent out properties need to be talked to individually and urged to thin those trees out, especially the ones that are growing right beside their houses. Because in dry years, those pine trees and those cedar trees are torches waiting to burn. We've been blessed twice so far, the Rodeo Chedesky fire and the cedar fire. But who knows how much longer God is going to give us his blessings. So we need to do that. We need to thin them out, and I'm hoping that the city can come up with some kind of grant money for people in my situation. I know I need to get my trees pruned way back, but I don't have the money for it. One tree trimmer quoted me a price of $200 just to prune a weeping willow that needs to be pruned very badly before I can use my wood-burning stove. It's hanging right over my roof. I don't have $200. I'm on an SSI pension. I wish I had them. I could afford it, but I don't have it. Now, the other thing I need to talk about is the mosquito situation. The Zika virus is something we need to worry about now and not just when it starts popping up in Arizona. And the city needs to do a aggressive mosquito spraying program as soon as possible. Likewise, individual homeowners, such as myself, we need to start walking around our yards, front and back and sides, spraying the grass and under bushes and stuff with some kind of sprayers. I got a 1 gallon container of broad spectrum insecticide from Ace that cost me about $13. And I try to use that. However, the wind has not been cooperating lately. So anyway, that's what needs to be done. The city needs to begin an aggressive mosquito spraying program, but the individual homeowners, we need to start doing what we can too. And if this doggone wind will cooperate, I'll be able to get out there and finish the job. I guess that's about it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ridenour. Appreciate that. Anyone else on call to the public? Seeing nobody moved, I'll close call to the public at this time. Next item we have is a consent calendar. Is there any item that members would like to have reviewed or discussed? Councilmember Alsop?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to discuss, I don't think we need to take it out, but I'd like to discuss, if we could, item E.
Item E, okay. Let me just list the items. Any other items of council would like to discuss? Councilmember Kelly? What number?
Item H.
Item H, okay. I'll just go over what we have on the consent calendar. We have item A, which is a proclamation proclaiming September 14th through the 18th as Navajo County Fair Days. Consideration and transfer of police motorcycles to the Navajo County Sheriff's Office and St. John's Police Department. Item C is consideration of resolution number R2016-20, rescinding resolution R2015-23, and adopting the revised Title VI policy statement and implementation plan regarding the non-discrimination in city programs and activities. Consideration of acceptance of a grant from the Arizona Department of Transportation to fund design phase for mill and overlay rehabs of the runway, and a consideration of resolution number R2016-23 granting utility easement to Arizona Public Service Company. Item F is consideration of a second amendment to portable hangar use agreement, assigning a lease from Thomas and Margaret Lord to Brock Taras. And item G is a consideration of award of a purchase of ERT's electronic receiver transmitter. And item H, consideration of approval of a lease agreement for a road grader. And item I, a consideration of the minutes of Show Low City Council meeting. Let's go to item E here, consideration of resolution R2016. Councilmember Alsop.
Okay, the question I have is this part of, the reason we have to give utility easement, is this because of the underground that we just put in? And if it is, why wasn't that on the agreement when we first voted on it a while back ago when we put the underground under, the power under?
Mr. Cup?
My recollection is that we did discuss that there would be need for some easements on the project. There's also some private easements that APS has obtained, but I thought that was something that was discussed earlier when you approved the expenditure for the undergrounding.
I thought we approved it for what the drawings were, and the drawings were where they were going to put their utilities boxes, but I'm not sure if this is an additional one added or if this was on that original plan or not.
It was, and this is for the above ground equipment mostly. There's some transformer pads and some other things. They also need space, certain clearances for opening and closing cabinet doors and things like that. So that's what this easement is for.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that item? Okay, we'll go to item H here. Councilmember Kelly.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the staff to defend me, the lease. I usually find when I even looked at leases, unless you want to turn something over real quick, the leases really hurt you. And obviously, the staff has decided that this is the best way to go as opposed to a purchase. Looking at how long the last one lasted and how short this lease will be relative to that. When the lease is done, obviously, we have what for value? Zero?
Well, we have an option to purchase this at $93,000 once the lease is up. We then have an outright opportunity to purchase the unit.
No, I'm saying at the end of the lease, our value of the equipment to us is just the option to buy it.
Yes, we have,
That used and at that price. I don't know.
Mr. Cup?
we have an option to buy the lease out, buy the equipment outright at the end of the 7 years. We also have the option to trade the machine back in and enter into another 7-year lease with obviously terms to be negotiated at the time.
I can't argue if they've studied it through, but my observation is when considering leases over a longer period of time, it's real good for the dealer, not so good for the user, but that's different than your opinion, obviously.
We did, we carefully considered this, I believe, and we also had our finance director take a look at it from a financial standpoint. We're allowed to have 1,000 hours per year on this lease, so that's a total of 7,000 hours for a piece of equipment like a road grader. 7,000 hours is pretty long in the tooth, and 10,000 hours is very, very old. So the other thing that we considered is that our grader has been down for over a year, and when needed and only as needed, and we've tried to rent it as infrequently as we could. But we've already spent over $40,000 this year on the rentals. So if we continued to do that, say we continued to do the rental, then obviously we'd be spending more money than we were on the lease.
Right, no, an occasional rental, if that occasion is pretty frequent, is gonna be horribly expensive, I understand that. What, did they give us a price on this same unit if we bought it today?
They did.
71,000, I believe. 271,000.
And if we lease it for the years,
Okay,
okay,
about 150,000 for the lease over the 7
190.
years.
190 plus 22.
right.
Okay, sorry.
And I understood, if I caught it right, that we're getting the maintenance schedule in that
Yes.
without additional charge?
Yes, and also a warranty for the full term, for the full 7-year term.
And
And of course, warranty does have certain inclusions and exclusions, and those are listed as well.
we're allowed a maximum hours per year, and you think that that's adequate. If we underuse those hours, there's no refund, am I right?
No, there's no refund for underusing them. I think that 1,000 hours a year is adequate for our needs.
Well, so how close will we come to that, do you think?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't think that we will be parking the machine with a month left in the fiscal year. I think that 1,000 hours is going to be adequate for us without leaving a whole bunch of time on the table. We certainly don't want to go over on it, but
Well, it seems like the machine we got now had 10,000 hours.
it had in excess of 10,000 hours. Actually, the hour meter broke, and it was run for quite a while before it was replaced. So we had 4,000 hours on one hour meter and 6,000 plus on another hour meter.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that unit was in service how many years? I don't mean to be playing games with you. It just didn't work out for me in my head.
20 years.
Huh?
20 years.
So that would have projected out 20 hours at current use,
10,000.
huh? And we only had 10. So if we're leasing a machine at 1,000 hour basis and we use half of it, I don't know. I'm not much of one for leasing long-term. I just haven't ever seen it pencil out. If you really think a good analysis shows that's the case, it's a way to keep newer equipment under you. I'll give you that. So I just wanted to ask that it be analyzed carefully, and you're telling me it has. I'm seeing heads shaking. Okay, maybe we'll have a longer discussion next time. I won't vote against it if you've analyzed it that carefully. It just,
We had that discussion earlier today as well, as the things that we went through as earlier in our preparation for this meeting, and we called in the finance advisor, and that was his recommendation as well. So, I had my same concerns, but after he explained what they have gone through, I'm okay with it.
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
So, Mr. Cup, if you're saying we spent over 40,000 this year, we would probably spend more than that if you had the access to use it more, you would have used it more, correct? You probably would have spent a lot more than 40,000 this year.
Absolutely, and especially with the purchase of our asphalt zipper, we've been doing a lot more work that when we zip a road, it requires the use of a grader. We put down probably 8 to 10 times more asphalt this year than we have in past years, and a lot of that was facilitated by that new piece of equipment. But we had to have a grader to follow behind it as well, so.
Councilmember Crittenden?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Any other question or discussion, Vice Mayor?
No, I'm second.
Second it. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that that passed 7-0.
I have one question real quick before you move on, if you don't mind. I'm sorry. I was just reading the minutes and it said Casey Clark was here. Did I miss him somewhere or I didn't see him? It says on our minutes he was here, but I sure didn't see him anywhere. Okay. Just, I know Steve Williams was here and the other ones, but didn't see Casey.
So you want to have that corrected?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. On
He
there.
wasn't here.
Next item is new business. Item A is consideration of resolution R 2016-22, authorizing intergovernmental agreement for law enforcement between White Mountain Apache Tribe and the city of Show Low. Who would like to go first, Chief or Chief Shelley? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. You know, with the Cedar Fire and the united efforts to mitigate any danger to the public, it became clear that the intergovernmental agreement for law enforcement and mutual aid between the City of Show Low and the White Mountain Apache Tribe was necessary for mutual assistance in times of emergency and also to help each entity during major events such as the 4th of July in Show Low and the Tribal Fair, which was just this last weekend. The agreement provides for enforcing the criminal and traffic laws of the White Mountain Apache Tribe and the city within the Fort Apache Indian reservations and prevents any jurisdiction from becoming a sanctuary for violators of the law of either jurisdiction and prevents interjurisdictional fight. The agreement grants city police officers the necessary powers to enforce the tribe's criminal and traffic laws, including conducting searches, making arrests, or issuing a written warning or issuing a citation to any Native American within the tribal jurisdiction, the tribe's jurisdiction. Conversely, certified tribal police officer who makes a traffic stop within the city of Show Low, acting in their official capacity off of tribal territory, may issue a verbal or written warning, issue a state of Arizona traffic citation, or make an arrest. The agreement is valid for 3 years from the date of the signing and may be renewed for an additional 3 years unless terminated by either party. The agreement allows for termination by either party with a 30-day written notice and available for questions.
I have a question on this. Does this just pertain to traffic citations and traffic violations?
Any type of, Mayor and City Council, any type of enforcement that we do out there or ask for their assistance, such as in the Cedar Fire, we brought their certified peace officers up here, or the post-certified peace officers up here to help us with possible evacuations. So we started stationing them in certain areas so that they had the arrest powers of someone that would not leave or came on the property afterwards, trespassing, anything like that. Again, those are the certified police officers of the tribe. They have the same jurisdictional limitations that I do in the state of Arizona, but the ones that are BIA certified, those are the ones who would be held back on the reservation itself. So we would, conversely, going back and forth, be able to help each other out in any kind of crisis or any kind of event.
Councilwoman
would it
Kukovis.
just- Thank you. So would it just be on a request basis, or
Yes, that's correct now.
so are we planning, will we have joint training to go over, some of our, the way we do things, our community policing and that type of thing?
Yeah, Mayor and City Council, what we do on every kind of activity or operational thing, we go through the training process with them. As far as arrest procedures, they go to the same academies that we do. They do the same, they're under the same Arizona Post regulations and laws. Their laws of arrest are identical to ours. Just the operational concerns that we have on those things are taken care of just before the operation were to start. So if they came up here saying that they were going to work with, let's say BIA wanted to serve a search warrant on someone who was poaching and taking items off the reservation, with the FBI, we would be there to help them or assist them on that. That kind of operational briefing would happen just before that. So there would be that training. And there is training for us on that end to understand their tribal laws and their customs as well.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions of council? We have a question of the audience there.
Sir, I just have a quick question. What about the liability
Please step up to the
situation?
podium.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please step up to the podium.
Oh, my apologies.
Go ahead.
Mark Ridenour, 2320 North 22nd Way. My question to the chief is, what about possible liability issues if there's lawsuits or something? Who's gonna fund the, if there's a problem on either the reservation or here in Show Low? Who's gonna fund the, pay for the defense counsel, et cetera?
There's an indemnification agreement in the agreement that they're responsible for their officers, we're responsible for our.
Right, right. One other quick question, sir. Regarding the road grader.
We can't go back to
Oh,
that.
my apologies,
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thank you, that's it.
I don't have anything on the road grader.
You don't know?
I'm not on the road grader side,
Answer
sorry.
that one.
That's your story and you're
Get
sticking
turned.
I'm
to it.
staying to that one.
Mayor and council, just, Councilman Kelly pointed out that there is one error in the agreement under 13B. If you read that first sentence there, it should say the word stop instead of SROP. And then it says Navajo County, but it should say the city of Show Low. This agreement was one that was based off one done with Navajo County, so if we missed any, where it says Navajo County, we'd like to replace that with the city of Show Low. That's the only one I could find, but just in case.
Where are you at?
13B in the agreement.
Their page number.
Oh, okay.
Page number
Got it.
5. The citations for traffic offenses is the heading. Then if you look under B, there's just a typo there that says, instead of stop, it says SROP. And then it says Navajo County instead of the city of Show Low. So we just, with your permission, like to correct that in the final version.
Okay.
I just had one question.
Councilmember Hatch?
Chief, yes, we have agreements with the Game and Fish Department of Arizona as well as the Forest Service and other entities that are in law enforcement, do we not?
Yes, sir, that's
So
correct.
that's really just expanding this into the tribe. Okay, thank you.
It is.
Any other questions, comments? I'll then look for a motion. Councilmember Hatch?
I move to approve resolution number 2016-22 authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for the law enforcement between the White Mountain Apache Tribe and the city of Show Low.
With the amended corrections? Can you make that part of your motion?
And with the amendment correction, yes.
Have a motion, is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Kukovas. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that passed 7-0. Thank you, Chief. Next item we have is item 7B, consideration of award of construction contract for 280 East Deuce Club Sewer Extension Projects, City of Show Low, number S-0216. Mr. Himmelstadt.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The city's fiscal year 2016 capital improvement program budget included $194,000 for wastewater improvements. This CIP budget is focused typically on smaller capital projects ranging between $10,000 and approximately $50,000. Staff identified an area located behind the property at 280 East Deuce Clubs that requires wastewater improvements. Currently, this property and the neighboring 2 commercial properties to the east have individual sewer services that extend approximately 400 linear feet to the sewer main and the city-owned property or metal parcel to the north. The design was completed to install a single 8-inch public sewer main along the property line to pick up these services, which would greatly reduce the length of the private service lines and create better maintenance access in the collection system. Sewer main will be installed on the city-owned property or meadow property at 361 East Old Linden Road. This project was designed by city engineering staff with a construction estimate of $60,000. ADQ approvals to construct have been obtained, and the project was publicly bid in accordance with statutory requirements with the following results. Central Arizona Civil Construction Company at $51,675.22. Rock Country Builders at $51,950. Rollins Specialty Contracting at $58,425. Apache Underground Excavating at $62,500. Apache Equipment Services at $71,540, and JWT Grading LLC at $72,614. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for 280 East Deuce Club Sewer Extension Project, City of Show Low project number SO216, to Central Arizona Civil Construction Company in an amount not to exceed $51,675.22. The bid tab is attached, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'll look for a motion. Councilmember Crittenden?
I move to award the construction contract for the 280 East Deuce Club Sewer Extension Project, City of Show Low Project Number S0216, to Central Arizona Civil Construction Company in an amount not to exceed $51,675.22.
Thank you. A motion is second by Councilmember Kelly. Any other discussion? Councilmember Vice Mayor Leach?
Have they done any work for us before? I've never seen that name.
They have not, that I can recall. They have submitted some bids on prior contracts, but they haven't been awarded any work.
Where are they from?
I believe the main office is actually in Chandler, Arizona.
Okay,
They've been doing some work in Camp Verde and White River recently, I've heard.
thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that passed 7-0. Next item is our amended item here of consideration of resolution R2016-21, declaring and adopting the results of the primary election held on August 30th, 2016. Ms. Kurosaki.
Thank you, Mayor. And as you said, the council meeting packet had an earlier version of the resolution because the results, the county had not completed counting all of the ballots at the time when we prepared the packet. So this amended one has been laid out for you. This resolution would outline the unofficial results of the city's primary election, which was held last Tuesday, August 30. The ballot included the mayor's seat, 3 council seats, and a proposition called Proposition 407 for a permanent base adjustment. To win in the primary election, a candidate must receive a majority of the valid votes cast for the office of mayor or city council. And because of the, there's a new state law on how to calculate the majority of votes cast, depending on the office, it's based on the number of open positions. So you will see that to be declared elected mayor, the number of votes would be 858. To be declared a winner for the city council seat, it was 813 votes. We had 1 candidate for mayor, Darrell Seymour, and 5 candidates for the 3 council seats, which includes incumbents Rennie Crittenden, Connie Kakavas, and Gene Kelly, and 2 newcomers, Mike Bosley and William Thomas. The results, the complete unofficial results show that Darrell Seymour, who ran unopposed, received 1,715 votes, which exceeds the number of votes required to be declared elected. And for the council seats, the 3 incumbents all exceeded the required number of 813. The resolution itself that's attached does give you the specific numbers. The other thing, the last is the proposition, and it asks voters to adopt a permanent base adjustment to the state-imposed expenditure limit. And we're happy to say that the proposition was passed based on the 2,101 votes for this particular question. 66.3 voted yes, 33.7% voted no. So it did pass. It did pass quite overwhelmingly. And what this does mean is that in future, we will not need to take an expenditure limit election to the voters for, we're estimating 20 to 30 years. So we will be saving on future election costs for that particular question. So once you approve this, it will officially declare the results, and it will be considered an official canvass, and then we can post the election results. The other thing is the council members and the mayor will be sworn in at the December 6th council meeting, which is when you take your new seats for your new terms. And I will issue all of you a certificate of election, which is effective November 8, 2016.
Thank you. Ms. Kurosaki, any questions or comments? I just want to take the amendment here and thank the public for their support in approving Proposition 407. It was great to see the support and unanimous support of that proposition passing, and in the future it'll do a great thing for our community and our city to keep it vibrant and strong. We appreciate that support. And I want to thank all the new council members, not new, but the council members who will be serving a new term. Congratulate you. Thank you. Vice Mayor.
I move to adopt resolution number R 2016-21, declaring and adopting the results of the primary election held on August 30th, 2016.
A motion, we have a second by Councilmember Alsop. Any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
We vote.
Any opposed? See that passed 7-0. Thank you. Next item we have on the agenda tonight is summary of current events. Council members, also we had went to a City League town conference. Those council members who would like to combine a report may do so at this time with their summary of current events. Councilmember Crittenden?
I'll start it off, and what I'm going to do is talk about the league's annual conference. I was a last-minute addition, and I thank everybody for letting me go down there and spend the time going to these meetings. On Tuesday, August 23rd, it started at 5:30 in the afternoon with a welcome reception, and at 6:30 p.m., APS had a dinner at the league annual conference, where it was basically a networking program and entering the flags, et cetera, and it was a very, very nice dinner. On Wednesday, August 24th at 9 a.m., went to the opening general session. At 1:30, I went to Body Cameras Part 1, Experience City Share Lessons Learned. What that basically was a number of different chief of police talking about how they integrated body cameras into their police departments, the pros and cons and the positives and the negatives of what they went through to have that happen. At 3:15 p.m., I went to another meeting, moving from the Flintstones to the Jetsons and transportation. And I will tell you that I left this particular meeting about halfway through. What it basically was I will say a group of scientists talking about driverless cars and how that was going to be the thing of the future. And we in Shola really need to plan for that very soon. And I'm not sure that that's going to work out real well when you're going hunting in a driverless car. Okay, on Thursday, August 25th at 8:15, we got an update from our endorsed partners. At 10 o'clock, the basics of another meeting, the basics of zoning for city and town officials. At 12 o'clock, I went to a legislative and service awards luncheon. At 2:30, Healthy Communities, a new prescription for economic development. That was another one of the meetings. And then at 6 o'clock, the Showcase of Cities and Towns, where we had a booth where we displayed not only the city of Shola, but the other communities up here, and got educated people on what we have up here to offer. On Friday, August 26th, very early, I went to a speed networking breakfast for municipal officials, and that was approximately an hour-and-a-half program where you basically got to interface with other officials from around the state, moving from table to table and discussing different subjects. I would like to say that it was a worthwhile conference, and I thank you for letting me go.
Thanks, Councilmember Crittenden. Councilmember Hatch?
One thing I would add to the Wednesday Parade of Flags and that program, I was well pleased to see the youth of Sholo present. And I think it's good exposure to have those young people watch what goes on. It's like making sausage. They get to see some government at work. Like Councilman Crittenden and I attended some concurrent sessions. I chose to go to a couple. The first one I went to was a public service ethics in open government. That was quite educational. It's pleasing to sit into these things and see how well we are conforming and doing our duty as prescribed by law. One of the other sessions I went to was questions you should be asking your finance director. And I asked our city manager and our director a lot of questions. I was sitting between them. And so it was enlightening and it was a good presentation. On Thursday, there was another session that I attended, the open meeting law. And that just fortified some of our directions that we get as we come on the council about ex parte and other things that are important for us to observe the rules and regulations and the laws associated with city government. And then in the middle of the effective mayor and council manager relationships on Thursday, I was called, we had a death in the family, so I had to abbreviate my attendance there. But all in all, it was a wonderful experience. Again, I've been to a couple of these. And it's refreshing to sit down with people at this breakfast that Randy was talking about, or Council Crittenden was talking about, where you get up and you change places and you discuss topics that are given to you or might come out in the form of conversation. I'm pleased to report to you that I feel like we're doing a good job in the management of our city government and our finances and the opportunities that we have as a council to sit down each year and participate in a session where we discuss new issues that we might hear about from our constituency and have an opportunity to find out just exactly what we want to focus on in our next year's projects. But all in all, again, it was a nice session for me to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
I also attended this conference, and I could tell you, I've been to probably about 4 or 5 of these, and I personally think this was one of the better ones that I've been to, just some of the seminars they had. I went to a few of them that they've discussed. The one that really struck me the most was the medical marijuana, that if it passes on the ballot to start selling it, how they're gonna go about doing it, and it was kind of, Recreation
Recreational
marijuana.
marijuana.
Well, yeah.
Medical
But
marijuana is
anyway,
already passed.
there was a few of us in that one too, and it was, I'm sitting back there thinking they just should make it completely legal so we can tax it, we can get that money too, so I don't know. I don't know what direction it's gonna go in. It's just weird that we have to go to meetings and discuss recreation marijuana. Looks like we're trying to follow Colorado. But anyway, I think it was one of the best seminars I've been to, or one of the best leagues I've been to. I know the resort we were at was probably top notch that we've been to. Sad to say we have to go to Tucson next year, but it is what it is. We've got to share the wealth with all the communities. I just soon stay where we were at. But I also want to thank the staff for getting that all in and everybody getting that ready for us to go over there. It's nice that you really get babied there, especially from city staff, because when it's time to go, everything's there. You just show up basically. But anyway, it was a great conference, really was. Economic development was another good one I went to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Alsop.
Thank you, Mayor. Also attended the League of Cities and Towns. This has been my 4th or 5th time going. First thing, I just want to thank the people, the taxpayers, for letting us go to these classes and learning more and how to keep above and everything else that's going on out there, and gives us new ideas and directions where we can look at. So the first one I went to is the community making process towards the future workforce as a local tool, is making decisions for leadership. And it was about school and kids graduating from schools. They give us all kinds of percentages of how many people are going to college and how to retain them into your cities to help them with your workforce, and how to keep them here in your local area. Second one was the toolbox is small town economic development. There's always new things out there that we want to bring in to Show Low to see if it would help us with our income and if we can get things for the more economic here in Show Low. And some of them we've already started and some of them we're still doing. So it was neat to just see some of that. Then I also went to one that I thought was really a good one. Gilbert Lopez from, he's a council member from Coolidge, but this one was how to update your endorsement partners program that can save your city and town some money. And that it was a great demonstration of 4 or 5 speakers talking to us about how we can get our town to make money and to save money in the different things that we're doing. And so I thought that was a great one. And Gilbert's always been a good guy to rub shoulders with down there at the league. So thank you very much. I think my main thing I really like, and Councilman Hatch already brought it up, is this is the first time in all the years that I've been on the council that we've had school delegates go and carry in the Show Low flag. You could tell on them that they were excited about it. There's a youth delegation down there where they have classes and they go to the classes and they learn stuff. And, it's been brought up here in a few weeks, last 2 or 3 weeks, about getting younger people involved in the things in the community. We started having the students from the student body come and do the council meetings. And now they're coming to the youth delegation, and we're getting youth involved in it, and they're really enjoying it, and they're seeing the different things, what it is to be in leadership of trying to be on a council or being in the school or even working your way up to state or agencies. So they had a great time, and I also want to thank everybody for voting yes on that Proposition 407. It greatly is going to help us out, and we thank you for your support, and we're held accountable for that, and I want to say that we will be accountable for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members? Just want to take a moment here, in addition to the meetings that they've talked about. It was great to sit down with our council that first evening. We had a dinner that AEPS put on, and we just talked amongst ourselves as to what classes we would attend in the seminars. And I want to thank the council for being willing to go to their areas that we kind of talked about to be able to get us the broadest use of that conference and be able to cover most of the sessions that were there. I sat on the resolutions committee, being able to talk about some of the proposals of change with laws that we have amongst the towns and cities in Arizona, how we're fighting to continue to keep our local control and things from the overreach of our state government as well as the federal government. We had some interesting classes there. We did have one night where I was able to hear from Senator McCain, and Senator Flake spoke to us at a banquet. I was able to attend answering tough questions and staying calm under fire. Going recently through the Cedar Fire, there was some great things to understand with the media and things that take place there. I attended the part 2 of the policy of the legal ramifications of the body cameras and some of the things that we have to be concerned about, the cost that would be to our community. Being able to look at those opportunities and hear from other cities that have implemented it, some of the things that they are up against, as well as the marijuana issue is very interesting, that we're going to take the money and educate our students of the effects of marijuana after we've already passed it to smoke it. So it's kind of interesting how we do things backwards sometimes. Also, as the PSPRS, what we're working on with our liability that we have with the police department, their retirement plan, and the things that we need to know with that. So it was great, and I want to thank staff for being there. We had a great showcase of cities to be able to put Show Low out on the map and the things that we're doing in the White Mountains. A lot of people would like to be where we're at. We have a great community, and I just want to thank those who attended and made the best of this conference. Councilmember Kelly.
Yes, I may have misunderstood. I thought you were going to have all the ones at conference to go first. I didn't go to the conference, so I was waiting for now. I want to share, and be corrected if I'm wrong, that with our community, that your mayor was, I believe, again elected to the executive board of the state league. And so I congratulate him and you for having a mayor that cares that much and is willing to give that much. Along with that, I would like to thank all of you who turned out to vote. And I sort of say especially thank you that voted for me, but maybe that doesn't sound right. But anyway, thank you for turning out to vote. And I believe that you have a council that will serve the city of Shola well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kelly. I did want to note that Councilmember Crittenden got his 8-year service award, and we appreciate him for his 8 years of service. That's fantastic, too. City Manager, your report.
Just a couple things tonight, Mayor. Beginning tomorrow or sometime this week, depending on the weather, the East Huning in downtown Shola will be closed between 9th Street and 11th Street for approximately 6 weeks to allow for constructing a new concrete box drainage culvert, which is an ADOT project. You recall it's over at the intersection of Huning and 11th Street, and they're replacing those bridges there. Detours will be in place to route traffic north 1 block to East Hall. The existing closure of 11th Street, North 11th Street, will be open to facilitate the traffic in the downtown area. Businesses and local traffic will be maintained with signage indicating access to the Shola City Hall, to Aunt Nancy's Restaurant, America's Pie Company, Sunshine Herbs, and Living Hope Women's Center. We appreciate the public's understanding and patience while this project's being completed. The first half was the 11th Street closure. The second half is the Huning closure. So hopefully that'll go well in that second half. Also, our Public Works Division is hosting an equipment rodeo tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And they say they're going to do this rain or shine, so it may be a little bit of rain. It's at the north end of 16th Street off of Thornton in the industrial area. It's open to the public, and citizens are welcome to stay and watch the employees from the city, Navajo County, town of Pine Top Lakeside compete in different skill challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Any seconds? We have a scheduling of meetings. I know one of the things we're trying to get hammered down here is the 26th or 27th of October, our retreat. If you guys would let Ann know which of those 2 days would work best for you. Appreciate it. Thursday. In that way. The next item we have is an executive session.
Mayor, one more thing before you get to that on the scheduling meetings, just to remind the council, we do have a study session at 6 p.m. on your next meeting on September 20th. It'll also be the Student Government Day that has been mentioned earlier. We have our students come and shadow employees, and then they'll come to the city council and shadow the council members. But they'll be here for the 7 o'clock meeting, may join us for the 6 o'clock study session. But I just want to remind the council, we do have a study session on the 20th.
Our next item we have is the executive session, discussion of consideration of representatives of the public body to receive counsel concerning a lease of real property pursuant to ARS Section 3843-1-03, possible purchase of real property. And then we'll have the discussion of the executive session minutes of June 7th, 2016. Have a motion to move into executive session. We have a motion by Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilmember Alsop. All those in favor? See that passes 7-6-0. At this time, we'll move into executive session. Thanks, guys.
We're
You can't do Wednesday either? I can't do well, no.